I'm looking at the name on the first submission, the VT base mat, and
Mhm.
it's got a little horizontal line over the first
Uh-huh.
A
To make it clear that it's base and not mass.
base. I don't know that I would have known what that was telling me.
There's a word for it. There's vinculum, that's it.
Vinculum.
It's used in mathematical notations and things.
Oh wait, like a fraction is like the classic fraction has a vinculum in it.
Oh.
Like one third. That line is a vinculum.
Mhm. And when used in phonetics, it typically indicates, what in English, like, phonetics, we would call a long vowel rather than a short vowel, even if those are, like, slightly imprecise
Hmm.
terms. So if you have that over an E, you'd be like, "E."
So if it's got the line above it, then you're sort of saying the vowel A, VT base mat.
If it's over an I, then it'd be I, as opposed to I.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The schwa levels should be reduced to 0. Um,
That'll be our next design challenge. Design a card with as many schwas in it as you can get.
Welcome to Beacon of Creation, a weekly podcast on game design through the lens of Magic the Gathering. I'm Tim.
I'm Juliet.
We got our monthly design challenge review this week, and this month we did a different sort of funky design challenge that I think is going to be really fun to talk through and listen to.
Yeah, so this month we had Fool's April, where the challenge was to submit either a real card, like a canon card, with the name and any relevant creature types changed, or a custom card. And then the designers and submitters would have spoiler text on their
Hmm.
designs, either showing the real card name or revealing that it's a custom card. And then there were 2 bonus points just to, kind of narrow it a little bit, which were Fool's Gold, that the card can be cast for a single color of mana, and Fool's Rules, 3 lines of rules text.
We don't know going in, the two of us, whether these are like regular real canon Magic cards or made up cards. For this episode, what we're going to try to do is like start by just reading the card and breaking down the card as though it were a new card, as though it were designed, just something designed by the submitter. And then once we've like digested a little bit, then we'll lock in our guess. Is this a real card? Is this a new custom card?
Mhm. So our first submission is from VT Basemat. It's Conjurer of Unreality. It's 1 blue and a blue. That's 3 mana for an 0/1 creature Eldrazi wizard. And it has an activated ability here. For a single blue mana and tap, add 3 colorless mana.
This feels like it's on the Juliet Red Alert list, letting blue do something like this.
Yeah, it's what is it? Is it a apprentice sorcerer? Not prodigal sorcerer. What's the original one?
Oh, you recognize this card too? Yeah, yeah.
Which that one just added 2 colorless, right? Like
Oh,
from
did
from
it?
like from alpha or
It's
beta?
like the dark or something.
Yeah, the dark, one of those.
Yeah, that's about where I think it is. Yeah.
We've seen different versions of stuff like this over the years, either in kind of artifact focused sets or colors focused sets, or even occasionally core sets where
Hmm.
they're like, oh, hey, blue can add colorless. So why don't we have blue add colorless? And it's like, I don't know. But yeah, again, I'm kind of anti-blue adding mana while also
Yeah.
recognizing that it is a thing that we do have plenty of canon card
Hmm.
precedent for.
There was like an Innistrad card that I remember playing a lot that would like tap for a colorless and mill you one card. That was a fun
Sure.
thing to do in that format.
That was one of the homunculuses probably,
I think so.
or like
Yeah.
the like
Yeah.
lab assistants who
Yeah.
calling
Yeah.
back to Millikin as a sort of milling mana rock creature.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
How do you feel about your like mana producing creatures and their ability to tap an attack versus, like, not do that. This, like, 0/1, I think is
Hmm.
interesting. If we think about, like, Birds of Paradise as, like, okay, that's flying, but the 0 power, you
Hmm.
got that versus, like, a Llanowar elves, with, like, hey, that's a 1/1, and then you can buff
Yeah.
that with elf things. Or I often think about, is it Leaf Gilder? I wanna say? Yeah, Leaf Gilder, where you're paying an extra mana, but you're getting a 2/1 out of it.
Hmm.
And so it's like, this is a mana or, like, actually a creature that can attack. Like, you do
Yeah.
often want to be making a decision rather than this is just a mana rock that can be bolted.
Yeah. A 2/1 like that Leaf Gilder. That to me has like a higher average power level in like a draft or in like a format. Like if you got new players or something, like it's nice for them to have a little bit of extra power so that even if they stock their deck with a bunch of these elves, if they rip them late, 2 power at least does something to the game. 1 power, maybe not, and then 0 power, obviously nothing.
Mhm,
Maybe if you see a mana creature with 0 power, you're probably in for like a pretty juiced card because they said we can't even give it 1 power. That's how good this card is.
mhm,
And I think this would be a powerful card. I mean, this is 3 mana. This is Worn Power Stone ish.
mhm.
3 mana, make a bunch of mana.
3 mana to get it onto the battlefield, and then you're getting 2 mana out of each tap of
Yeah.
this,
You
basically.
got to pay 1 blue in to get 3 colors out. So you're netting 2 mana. Yeah, I guess, yeah, it's sort of more feast or famine, right? Because it gets board wiped, it gets killed by a lot more things than other mana sources. O1's tiny. You can't really block with it. Like, you really don't even want to chump block with this guy. Many Llanowar elves have given their lives to save someone, 5 life. But
Mhm.
this generates so much mana that I really don't even want to do that with it. Yeah, I really just want to rip another 8 mana creature and slam it with this guy.
So, with that in mind, do you think this is a, real card or not?
Yeah, I think we both recognized this card at the beginning. I think this reskin is really cool, like the
Mhm.
Eldrazi to why is it colorless. But yeah, I think this is that apprentice wizard, something like that.
Oh, this is, like, the original one?
That's what I think. Yeah, yeah,
Oh. I was thinking that this might be one of those, like, Phyrexian sort of, like, not new Phyrexia, but this could easily be from, what is it? All What's the one before Merchant Machines? All Will Be One, and just like,
yeah,
"Oh,
yeah.
yeah, this is one of those cards that I don't remember." Like,
Mm.
from the kind of bulk of, a re-edition of Phyrexia.
Yeah. All right. So I guess we'll click on the source here. Yep, the Dark's apprentice wizard thematically moved to
Oh,
being an Eldrazi.
there we go.
Happen to know this one. I know like the first like 5 or 6 sets like really well. And then past that, it's going to get really fuzzy. And then it's going to pick back up maybe in the last 10 years. This is a great submission, though. If all of them are like this, I'm going to be happy. Would we give this much mana generation to blue? No. Why would we do it? Oh, because Eldrazi stuff is kind of cool. We love to print kind of juiced Eldrazi cards.
Mhm. And that definitely has never caused a problem in any sort of format,
I, I, I
having
th-
just
I think that's what I'm appreciating is that like for some reason Eldrazi get like extra strong cards all the time whenever they come back. And so that
Mhm.
like makes it like feel more plausible as a card somehow. All right, but our next one up is from Plaid Weasel VT. Oh man, this seems like it might be in the in that zone I was just describing of Veiled Effigy. It's 6 mana for an artifact. Remove Veiled Effigy from your deck before playing if you're not playing for ante.
Mm.
0 tap, sacrifice Veiled Effigy, flip a coin, target opponent calls heads or tails while the coin is in the air. If the flip ends up in your favor, that opponent loses the game. Otherwise, you lose the game. Effects that prevent or redirect damage cannot be used to prevent this loss of life. Use this ability only during your upkeep. Your opponent may ante an additional card to counter this effect. uh, All right, so there may be like a dozen cards that are anti-related cards. Remove this from your deck if you aren't playing for anti.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite sure exactly what the last couple cards were, but there were certain plenty in Alpha in the first couple sets. This is 6 mana, and then it's 0, tap, sacrifice Veiled Effigy.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to do this coin flip thing.
I'm gonna do a called shot on a thing that I
Yeah.
don't think we're gonna see today, but I think would be really interesting to see. Would be one of the cards that only exists in Chandelar.
Oh, yeah, or the
Like,
Dreamcast game or something. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
All
where it's
right,
like,
all right, all
yeah,
right.
this is kind of real. Or somebody submitted like an alchemy card.
Hmm. Hey,
We just were like, mhm.
I
Oh yeah,
I think
like
we always love like weird niches of magic and getting fooled by the corners of magic here.
check out last week's episode for some pretty
Yeah.
fun alchemy twists.
Yeah, learn a little bit about how that maybe is designed too. So we got 6 mana here. I think the thing that makes me the most suspicious that this is not an existing card is that this is actually too strong for a flip card. Like if the flip ends up in your favor, that opponent loses the game. You never got that much upside on a coin flip card back in the day. The coin flip cards were like flip a coin or just lose this permanent.
Mhm.
And then it did some okay thing normally.
The thing that gets me is we have a win and lose the game rather than like a
Yeah.
deal 20 life or whatever.
Yeah.
Effects that prevent or redirect damage cannot be used to prevent this loss of life.
Mm.
And so I'm like, is this one of those weird old cards that has like additional rules that are no longer necessary, but once upon
Yeah.
a time were?
Yeah.
Or I'm going to bid custom for this one.
I think I'm custom, but I'm also just like applauding all the extra details to try to make this feel like some old card.
Totally. Totally.
uh, use this ability only during your upkeep. That's the thing I'm really loving.
If I make this spoiler text longer, it will definitely appear to be a potentially legit card. And as it happens, that is exactly the fact. As is actually Amulet of Quaz.
Oh.
Wow. Well, on the original card it says, "Otherwise you lose the game.
Huh.
Effects that prevent or read." Well, so
Redirect
what we have
damage cannot be
is
used to prevent this loss of life. Yeah. Crazy.
not the Oracle text, but the original printed text on this card. We've been fooled.
Yeah, the Oracle text has actually trimmed that like redirect loss of life, blah blah blah.
Mhm. I was trying to figure out whether that was like a misdirect or like an artifact from like an earlier draft of this card in somebody's
Yeah.
like MSE file. Wow. Congrats to Plaid Weasel. That's a great find.
Love it.
Our next submission is from Pat. It's Abzan Ramparts. It's 1 white and a white, so 3 mana for a rare enchantment with walls you control get +1/+0 and have banding. Flavor text. When Anafenza holds court under the first tree, the gates of Mer-Ek are sealed. No safer place exists in all of Tarkir.
Walls you control get +1/+0 and have banding. Another kind of effect that's looking to make us suspicious or make us maybe believe that this could exist. Because if it was like walls you control get +1/+0 and have double strike or something, then I it would be harder for me to believe because the time where walls mattered in Magic Design and the time where double strike mattered in Magic Design don't overlap that much. But the time where walls mattered and the times where banding mattered are like almost like a concentric circle.
I don't know about you. At some point in time, I'm pretty sure I did know how banding works, but I have
Hmm.
given up that space in my brain for things that are more relevant. And so
Hmm.
I've forgotten basically every banding card that I once knew. There's like what Anhava Guildhouse, the one that gives like green legends you control have bands with other green legends or whatever, like the
Yeah, yeah.
really
The
bad
truly
banding
bad ones, yeah.
cards. And maybe this is also one of those.
Yeah, yeah.
Ah,
So banding, giving walls banding is actually like pretty good and actually reasonably
Mm.
flavorful, because banding with blocking is sort of saying like, hey, I get to multi-block, but I as the defender pick where all the damage goes, which
Mm.
actually kind
Mhm.
of is like how walls would work, right? I've got three
Mhm.
guys up on the wall and they're like attacking or they're shooting at the attacker. And then I decide, hey, does it all hit the wall? Does it hit the people on the wall? That kind of stuff. So that kind of like actually makes a little bit of sense, which is actually pushing me towards this being a custom card because it makes so much sense.
Mm.
And I don't necessarily trust the banding cards to make a lot of sense.
I think it's time for us to split our
Yeah,
to
yeah.
hedge.
You're
So
right.
I'm
You're right.
going to go cannon card
Okay,
if you
okay,
go
okay.
custom card here.
All right, all right.
And
This is a
let's
real card.
wow. Fortified area
Uncommon in Legends.
and a common in 4th edition. Took the art and flavor text from the Khans Tarkir card, Dazzling Ramparts. Wow.
Wow, I do recognize this art, but I've definitely never seen this card in play.
I think even though I guessed real on this, I still feel like I've been fooled here. Wow. Maybe we'll hear somebody's fixed version of banding at some point in the future.
If I would have just seen this card in the list, I would be like, well, this is a dumb card. But having been forced to consider the ramifications of the card, I actually have more respect for Fortified Area.
Mhm.
Thank you for making me think deeply about this lost gem of a card.
It feels wild in the modern era just because they've really, really done the, like, creatures the defender can attack as though they didn't have defender frequently
Hmm.
with, like, the Doran text. Any card that, like, isn't a wall but buffs walls, like an enchantment that buffs walls and doesn't make them attack feels, like, unheard of these days, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't remember a lot of people who were like into walls back in the day. Maybe I just had the wrong play group when I was, I don't know, 11. But
Mhm.
I didn't know I don't know what the demographic for Fortified Area was back in the day.
People were into Sunscape Familiar a long, long time ago before
Hmm.
there was, like, the Pauper Familiars deck and
Yeah.
everything. But for me, I really feel like Defenders, like, hit with, Rise of the Eldrazi,
Yeah. Fen Sentinel.
with
Yeah.
all of yeah, Vent Sentinel, all of that.
Hmm. This tech it could almost work on a regular card, like a wall that allows other people to block with it, but only the wall dies kind of thing.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Or what about, like, a wall with, like, asterisk for power? And it's like, "Hey, this has the power of each other creature you
Each
control
other
at it."
untapped creature. Yeah. Okay. We're getting more respect for walls. What else could we want? All right. Next up from Kuyashi Plays, we've got Untamable Horse, 2 and a green for creature horse. This creature can't be blocked by creatures with horsemanship. And it's a 2/2. 3 mana 2/2 has nothing to contribute except that specifically horsemanship creatures can't block it. Horsemanship is what, Portal 3 Kingdoms, the like
Yeah, exclusively Portal 3
yeah.
Kingdoms as far as I know. Riding the Deelu horse and everything, which a great part of the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, that one particular horse has some pretty exciting stuff that goes on.
The Delu horse has sick lore.
Yeah, yeah. The idea of this horse that everyone's like, "It'll doom whoever rides it,"
Oh.
and then being like, "Yeah, but, like, that's not sometimes you ride a horse." Like, sometimes it's the rider, not the horse that dictates the destiny.
Hmm, 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 hmm.
Yeah, Untamable Horse. This creature can't be blocked by creatures with horsemanship. So, thinking about this through the allegory of horsemanship is flying,
Yeah.
this is like a green creature with this creature can't be blocked by creatures with flying,
Yeah,
which
yeah, yeah.
is reasonable. We would often end up putting this in red in kind of like a burrow
Yeah, yeah.
sort of flavor oftentimes, but green with hate for flying is like a thing that's
Yeah.
existed in Magic from the beginning through to the present.
The main question here, trying to guess if this is real or not, is how calibrated are we to the power level of the commons from Portal 3 Kingdoms?
Sure. Or rares. This could easily be a legend or like
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, because they're allowed to change the types. Yeah, so maybe this is some. Oh man, this is a miserable card. Complimentary.
the wild thing is gonna be, despite the amount that I've looked at Portal 3 Kingdoms in the last few
Oh.
years, what if this is just the actual name and creature type of the card?
Hmm.
What if we're being, like, double gambited? If it's not, though, what is this? So it would have to be, like, creature, human soldier, warrior, this can't be blocked, but, like, or, like rogue warrior or rogue soldier, some sort of little woo spies. I
Hmm.
can't think of anything that this would be. I don't know. It's plausible, but I'm guessing custom.
All right, I'll stay split. I'll say real.
What do you think the flavor for the card is?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think it's like a very generic soldier, just like four guys in a artwork, all looking straight at the camera.
They just they just can't be blocked uh, by people on horses.
I'm not ascribing that much flavor to the commons from Portal 3 Kingdoms. Maybe that's
Okay,
unfair.
let's take a look and see. This is a real card from Portal 3 Kingdoms. This is
Hmm.
Taoist Mystic.
Oh.
Honestly, another really fun recurring beat in Portal 3 Kingdoms. Flavor
Yeah.
text for this card is, by appearing in places miles apart at the same time, Suochi exhibited the mystic's ability to, quote, shrink the land. The, like, I'm just gonna be a weird guy who's so good at Taoism that I can be everywhere, or you go to a town and everybody there has my face, or
Hmm.
I'm gonna show up in multiple places at the same time. It anytime you're too tired of, like, the politics or the war stuff, you could have, like, an interlude chapter where this happens, and somebody
Oh.
powerful is, like, annoyed by this
By this trickster mystic, yeah. You
yeah.
did know one thing about this card, which I feel like makes me mad, and that this was a rare.
Mhm.
Oh
Uh-huh.
my goodness. This is like
This card is
so
$44.
so equivalent in power level to Hill Giant. Just a
I mean,
it's like worse than Hill Giant, I would say, because green just has access to better creatures than red.
right, but this creature can't be blocked by creatures with flying in a set
Yeah.
full of creatures, like, where all the big creatures have flying.
All the big creatures have flying. Okay.
Mhm.
I guess a 2/2 that can't be blocked by creatures with flying isn't like an upside in a normal set, I would say. Like, I'm not going to double block with 2/1/1 flyers on this 2/2.
Mhm.
Most 2/2s are already unblockable by creatures with flying. Um,
'Cause the creature with flying is going to have attacked and, like, it's gonna be tapped.
and is higher value than a 2/2. Yeah.
Mhm.
The flavor of this card actually is sick. If this card design was good, then I feel like this would be a slam dunk. But the stats are so miserable.
I I think for the era, the stats are really not that bad. You gotta remember it was, like, difficult to get creatures on rate, a lot of the
Hmm.
time, and Portal is a different set of stats. Looks like our next card here is submitted by Auxiliary Otter. It's Kitsune Palliator. It's 2 and a white for an uncommon 0/2 creature fox
Oh.
cleric. Tap. Prevent the next 1 damage that we would be dealt to each creature and each player this turn. Tim, is this a real card with this
From
name?
Sabers of Kamigawa.
Yeah, with this name and creature type.
Have they all been real cards? Did they
W with
just all conspire to only send us real cards?
It's gonna be so fun.
There's a 150 message thread that the two of us we're not allowed to look at, but that everyone else in the Discord were conspiring in. And then did they just like rank and file, just lock in everyone submitting a real card?
Okay, so
uh,
I think you probably have drafted Kamigawa block a little bit more than I have.
yeah.
Which set is the moth from that taps to give like +1/+2.
Oh, the good one?
Yes.
Um,
Because that's also 2 and a white,
yeah. It's
right?
from one of the first two sets. It's not from Saviors.
So this could be from Saviors and has some flavor text about like, "Spirit, you don't know the damage that you're doing, like, be at peace with the land." Or is this an even older card? I'm not used to this to each creature and each player this turn.
Yeah, that's that's what I'm loving about this. There were like multiple Fox like healers in the
Mhm,
block. I couldn't pin them all down, but I have sort of trace memory of when I was putting together the Kamigawa like block cube, just
mhm,
having all these like white healers that like I couldn't imagine people putting in decks.
mhm.
So if like, hey, the top-down flavor is that Fox clerics heal people, we need to hit this flavor note hard, guys. Give me 3 designs for damage prevention Fox cleric healers. Like, I could imagine by the third one that my boss makes me make, I start to like spread that damage out somehow. Like
Mhm.
I have this weird like to each creature and each player. If I needed a third one, if I need to dig deep, I could see getting there. But yeah, this is an unusual ability because it's your creatures and their creatures, and you as a player and your opponent. Like everybody gets that damage prevention.
I've played, I think, more than the average number of what used to be like a Samite healer sort of effect.
Yeah, yeah,
The tap prevent the next 1 damage dealt to a creature player. A classic sort of like 7th edition played alongside Angelic Page and Crossbow Infantry and all the other like 1 and a white prevent a little a
yeah.
pip. Those abilities really dry up after Eventide.
Hmm.
In most ways, we even stopped getting them in, like, the core sets and everything, and I feel pretty confident that this isn't one of those weird, "Here's a traditional Magic card, but in an idiosyncratic way, sort of time spiral block card,"
Hmm.
and so I'm thinking that this really must be from Kamigawa or earlier. Is there a Homelands card that's like, "Hey, it's your normal prevention card, but worse?" Sort of thing.
Yeah,
Is this a Homelands rare
yeah.
white sort of card?
Oh. I think the other thing that complicates this about Kamigawa is that they were not really thinking about the curve of creatures in that block. So it's like very conceivable that there is like a whole host of 2 and a white creatures
Mhm.
that all are clumped in the same part of the curve. Not as set for curving out in general.
But yeah, is your guess
I think I'm guessing real, though if we want to keep splitting, we can keep splitting.
n I I think so you're guessing real, probably Saves of Kamigawa. I'm
Yeah.
gonna I'm gonna guess real and, like,
Not
this
Kamigawa.
is a card from Visions, you know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
you know, one of those, like, "Yeah, I guess I've seen this card before, but it is vanished from my memory because no one's ever played it." I went for the bold take. I'm not even changing the name or type of this Betrayers of Kamigawa uncommon.
Hmm.
Our first instinct reading this going, wait a minute, isn't this just a card? uh,
I'm loving it. Oh, I do not recognize this art at all. I must have like this was in the very first call of the Kamigawa cube.
do they
This
have a
did not
fun
make
hat
it to the
on? Yeah,
consideration.
they do have a fun hat on. Wow. Who am I
Uh,
to judge who is deserving and who is not? That is a question for lords, not healers. Wow.
you know what? Throw this in like conspiracy. I think this card might actually get something done. The ability to prevent a bunch of damage to a bunch of creatures all at once to prevent like Monarch from being stolen by a 1/1. Kitsune Palliator. I've never seen this card cast. This episode rules. I'm calling it
Yeah.
now.
Strong agree.
All right. Next up from James Dalton Bell, we've got King's War Chariot. This is a white mana for artifact vehicle. It's a 4/3, so 1 mana 4/3 vehicle, so you got to crew it somehow. As long as it's your turn, King's War Chariot has first strike. And then it has crew 3 and Knight crew 1. Knight as in a person on horseback.
Mhm.
If you tap for 3 power, you can send in your 4/3 first striker. If you tap with any knight, you can send in your 4/3 first striker. This is a cool card. I mean, first strike on attack on 4 power, that does something.
Like the knight fits with like the fun flavor in some ways. Don't worry, you'll get the hang of it. Flavor text. Is this going to be one of those Eldraine cards that I've totally forgotten? Is this a card from the racing set whose name I definitely know that just came out?
Drift.
Thank you.
If this is a real card, I'm not sure if I'm locking in real card yet, but my guess is that this would be the like Rowan Kenrith, like new player pre-con is where this card showed up because that had a knight theme to it.
Mm-hmm. The knight could be something else, like relevant creature.
Good
This
point.
could be like artificer or pilot one, but pilots typically have their thing on their side.
Oh yeah, so the submitters are allowed to change creature types that are in the rules text, not just on the type line.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we said any relevant creature types just to make it.
Yeah. Soldier crew, warrior crew.
Yeah, this is probably real, but I don't know what card it is. So like, it's a guess that it's a real rather than like, I've totally squared what this is.
For a while they were just making like an extra 10 cards that would go in set boosters, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The knight thing has thrown me. I actually was feeling confident that I'm like less confident it's real now that there are more options somehow. I don't know why.
Right. Could this be in like a vehicles commander deck specifically or something? Let's take a look and see.
I'm guessing real.
This isn't a reskin of a real card, but it is a reskin of my submission for the March 2023 Design Challenge. March of the Machine.
That's why it's so familiar.
Well, James Dalton Bell, you two have fooled us. We've finally broken the streak of real cards. Wow. This next submission is a doozy. It's from Peter Mono White Border. It's Strixhaven Stadium for 3 generic mana. It's a rare artifact with tap, add, colorless. Put a point counter on Strixhaven Stadium. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to you, remove a point counter from Strixhaven Stadium. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to an opponent, put a point counter on Strixhaven Stadium. Then, if it has 10 or more point counters on it, remove them all, and that player loses the game.
Yeah, so you have to be dealing more damage to opponent or more instances of damage to your opponents than they do to you. And if you do, you win. We're looking at this card that's also just got crystal clear, normal frame, formatting, picture, everything else. So this card looks extremely real just as a default. And I do remember this effect somehow. So I think I remember this card.
This card is real. I was shown it a few weeks ago in a different Discord thread, and I was like, this card I've never seen before. I have zero memory of. I have no memory of it. Someone should submit this for the design challenge.
Oh.
So I'm glad.
Oh, you conspired to play this, to play the trick here. All right.
I was like, this feels like it could easily be. It's like, oh wow, this is a really polished custom card, which is not just. It just like I don't remember this at all from Strixhaven. I just didn't come up in my.
I think I've seen people try to do this in Commander. Is maybe where I remember it from.
That makes sense.
Because you just if you hit someone with 10 1/1s, then they die, which is I think an appealing thing to do to someone.
Especially in like a 40 life format for sure.
Yeah, I think that was the death knell in like regular booster draft was like if I'm hitting 10 times more than my opponent's hitting me, they're already dead.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Next up from Cord, we've got Scald's Hall. This is a land that enters tapped, has Exalted, and taps to add a colorless. Exalted is the kind of older mechanic. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, that creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. There's some flavor text here as well. Funny to get flavor text on this challenge. The murmurs of Olgal echo strongly here, where Scalds sang bolstering songs.
And it's a rare. It's a rare
Yeah.
enters tap land with Exalted and add a single colorless. And I'm like, wasn't there recently a new Exalted land? Or is there? I love Exalted, of course, but
Yeah.
I haven't built an Exalted deck in the last like 2 years at least.
I think this was like a core set when the core set had Exalted.
When did the core set have Exalted? We had Renown. Did Exalted show? Oh wait, no, there was Exalted in the core set
It
with
was like a,
Neferox and Servant of
yeah.
Neferox.
Yeah, it was like a
Yeah.
black-white Exalted theme.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm locking in real, but I'm surprised it enters tapped.
I'm willing to buy that it's real, but I feel like I don't think we had it then.
Okay.
I think that set we had the, like, land enters and everybody gains life, like, little, like, angel fountain,
Oh.
whatever sort of thing. So if this is real, I'm thinking it came out in, like, 2022. Okay, yeah. Yeah, let's both say real. And real, renamed Cathedral of War. When did
Mm.
Cathedral of War come out? Are you 100% right? Probably you are. Yeah, 2013. Magic 2013. Wow. Cathedral. Now that I see the art, I'm like, yeah, of course this card. Of
Oh
course.
yeah, it's
I've seen
like
this card. I've put this card in decks. It's the art is so tied to the memory of it.
yeah. It's like a cool hallway in a castle or whatever, but then there's just swords hanging, lit as many swords as you could hang on all the walls, and like a chandelier of swords. That's a cool
Mhm.
art.
All of the draperies, curtains of swords. Wow. So we weren't fooled, but I still feel a little bit fooled because I didn't remember the specific card. But that might change with this next submission from Crypt Rat. It's Begone! With an exclamation point. For single green mana, it's a common instant with Begone! Deals, or Be Gone, perhaps, deals 1 damage to target creature or player. It has the art of the main character from the Bee movie, I'm pretty sure,
Hmm.
and flavor text. Everybody knows, sting someone, you die. Don't waste it on a squirrel. Barry B. Benson.
Oh.
And here's the question, Tim. Was Hornet Sting an instant?
Yeah. Did Hornet Sting hit creatures or players? I
Right.
think it
So
did.
probably, yeah, maybe?
I think this is just Hornet Sting. And
I also think this is
the only reason to doubt is that it has B movie flavor, like BEE movie,
mhm.
which feels like it's indicating so clearly Hornet Sting
This is a misdirect
that
then.
it's a
Yeah.
misdirect. That it's like just lulling us into a sense of security.
I like the layers because if either of us somehow were unaware of Hornet Sting, we would be like, "Of course this isn't a real card.
Hmm.
Why would you print a single green instant
Yeah.
that pings like this?"
I think I've only read or heard Mark Rosewater talk about Hornet Sting only a dozen times in my life. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's a pretty common example, but yeah, as the details, I think it's just lightning bolt, but for 1 damage. I think that's what Hornet Sting is.
Here's one tiny little question. This says
Yeah,
deals 1 damage to target creature or player.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
probably how the card was originally printed.
yeah.
Is there a, like, any target, or is this like the Amulet of Qua's Veiled Effigy thing where we're being faked out because this is what the card text was, not what the
Yeah.
oracle text is?
Yeah, the original text, yeah. I guess so the art credit on this is B movie 2007. Is this what Hornet Sting's rules text was in 2007?
Mm.
I think this is a real
Hornstein,
card. I think this is the original text. It is probably any target now, but yeah.
I don't think we got Hornet Sting until at least 2011. because that would have been
Oh, really?
the M's.
Oh. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that was in the M sets. We got a bunch of attempts at like top-down designs that didn't necessarily match like color pie sort of things. And Hornet, that's where Hornet Sting was printed. I'm like 99% sure
Huh.
in like
Okay.
M11 or M12 or M15, but I think it was M12, which would be 2011. Anyways, let's see. While this is word for word the printed text of Hornet Sting, the Oracle text was changed with the removal of the Planeswalker redirection rule in 2017 to allow Hornet Sting to continue to hit Planeswalkers and now also battles, which this cannot. So we
Hmm.
this is technically a custom card,
Hmm.
but we were right in saying this is the printed text of Hornet Sting.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna put that we are correct. This is Hornet Sting with an asterisk.
Yeah. 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 I feel okay. Yeah. Oh, Magic 2011. Yeah, you're right. I thought Hornet Sting was earlier for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Unyaro Bee Sting. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yes, yeah. And then when was Hornet Queen also originally printed? M15? Or is that in Commander 2011 first? There we go. It's like those have to be in the same time frame. Ooh. Do we
Yeah.
have a new submitter
Oh,
here?
we do. We've got Journey Mage. How do I pronounce that name?
I would guess huge because it's like the beginning of Eugene.
I'm gonna do a quick video check. Eoge or Euge? Ancient Greek. You think it's Eugene, or do you think it's ancient Greek?
I mean, even with ancient Greek stuff like eudaimonia,
Yeah.
we pronounce the Greek prefix EU as y.
Yeah. I'll try my best. I'm not sure if it's correct or not, and I apologize. Next up, Journeyman Eugene, something like that.
New
New
submitter.
submitter.
Pew,
Pew, pew, pew,
pew,
pew,
pew,
pew.
pew,
Wop, wop, wop.
pew.
New submitter. Wop, 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 wop. Thank you for submitting to this challenge. The card that we've got here is called Compelled Retreat. This is a blue mana for an instant. And it says, return target creature to its owner's hand. If that creature is a commander, return it to its owner's command zone instead.
If I bounce your commander, can't you return it to the command zone?
You could send it to the command zone instead of your hand if you wanted to. Usually you're better off having it go to your hand, though.
Right. Okay. Okay. So it's not like this would auto proc normally.
This would be complementary, an annoying card to play against a commander, because resetting someone to the command zone is like even worse than bouncing. And I think if it were a card this annoying, I would have expected to have had to play against. Again, I'm not saying annoying that's a bad design if it was a custom card, but I think it would have become notable maybe if it was a real card. I'm thinking custom.
Yeah. I'm also guessing custom, but just because it isn't familiar to me, it hasn't like flicked by my brief watching of somebody else's commander game.
Yeah, I see people sometimes just advocating for unsummon and vapor snag and all that. If people were advocating for that, they'd also be advocating for this compelled retreat. So just from sort of like trace memory, I guess, should we be guessing that way? Should we be instead like developing sort of a method for analyzing these and saying like, would this be a good card to print? Would this be a card they would print? That kind of thing.
I think if every week this was the format of the podcast, maybe. But I think
Okay.
as a one-time thing, that like part of the fun is also testing. There are now 20,000 different Magic cards.
Yeah.
Tim and
Okay.
Juliet have been playing for a long time.
Yeah.
But there are big gaps in our, even cards that we've played before.
Yeah,
We sometimes don't remember. And that's a fun sort of twist. Is this gonna have a different flavor that's like Jace's evacuation or whatever? And we're like, oh, of course I don't remember it because it's got that Jace art, and without that I don't know.
a
Yeah.
thing that makes this kind of plausible, I can see, hey, we want to make a card in each color that cares about, like a normal classic Magic card that cares about targeting a commander. Like that would
Mhm.
be a good cycle of cards, but I don't remember that cycle. So I'm guessing custom. I'm locking in custom.
And this name feels like a real Magic card name,
Absolutely.
which makes me
Ooh,
think it's a custom card.
ooh, okay. That's an interesting thing. The more realistic the card is, the more we think it's custom, because if it's a real card, they're going to make it a B movie reference. uh, and you can't do that. Or I guess you could do that with a custom card if you wanted to.
Uh-huh.
ah!
It's
uh,
the layers.
yeah.
So, turns out this is a custom card.
Hmm.
Quote, "I figured there's a real chance that cards that reference
Oh,
commanders is something that they are less likely to know," and that's true.
I like this. I like this. Yeah, yeah. I have a lot of Commander experience these days. I've been playing a fair amount of Commander. So I think like me a year and a half ago would absolutely be in that boat where I just don't know the common Commander cards.
Mhm.
I love this strategy. Good job. A journeyman, how about an expert?
And I think a fun name for an interesting design that makes you think about when you'd play it versus a vapor snag in particular, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
Our next submission is from Crafted Lava is True. It's Surprising Cut Purse. It's
Hmm.
1 blue and a blue for a 2/3 creature merfolk. Tap, target blocked attacking creature becomes unblocked. So
Hmm.
you tap this, target blocked attacking creature becomes unblocked. Activate only during combat after blockers are declared. Wow, weird.
Hmm.
There were a lot of Supratson merfolk in that era of cards.
Mercadia,
Supratson
yeah.
Air, yeah, the sort of like, "Hey, when this dies, draw 2 or 3 cards," or weird little things that engage with evasion in funny ways.
Yeah.
I don't think this card is what it is.
If the question was just, is this a card in Mercadia Masks? I'm pretty firm no right now.
Right.
It feels like, first of all, 3 mana, 2/3 in blue and in Mercadia. We'd be lucky to have that. But I think you're right that maybe it's some other. It's not a Merfolk. It's not Surprising.
Yeah, but where would
Yeah,
like, this is better than target
unblockable.
creature,
Yeah,
yeah, becomes unblockable because you've to wait for your opponent to make the wrong or right decision, and if they make the right one, then you can
yeah,
activate. This feels too strong for an early card that I wouldn't have seen played
yeah.
in some, like, extended or legacy or something a long time ago, and it feels too strong and too fiddly
Yeah.
to not have, like, a cost for it in, like, a modern era of design.
Yeah, that's a good breakdown. I agree with that. Kind of like the last card. It feels like if this technology already existed on a Magic card, people would have referenced it before.
Mhm.
Like I would have seen other people taking a shot at using this, and then like making a creature unblocked, like forcibly unblocked, or the opposite. Like there's like one or two white cards that like make a creature blocked, but not by a given creature.
Mhm.
That's pretty rare technology. So I feel like it would have been notable. And yeah, I'm leaning custom.
Now, if this said target blocked attacking creature becomes unblocked, remove it from combat, then I would be
Hmm.
like back in. Then I'd be like, yeah, this is a weird like gust
Yeah.
cloak sort
Yeah.
of
Yeah. Yeah.
thing that they gave blue in, oh, this is an Odyssey card that just like nobody played with because it didn't engage with graveyard stuff at all or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
All right. Guessing
If
custom.
I'm guessing custom. If this was real, what flavor would you expect from it? I do think
Um.
putting this as suppressant cut first, like,
Yeah.
yeah, sure.
That flavor is so good that it's hard to top that. Yeah, I guess
Mhm.
like something time spirally. Yeah, because this is such a
Mm.
like an experimental effect, and the cost is so like good and tuned. Yeah, I don't know. So they nailed it on the first try. Crafted.
Yeah. Let's see. This is a custom card, albeit heavily based on Trap Runner
Trap
from
Runner.
Mercadian Masks to throw you off. Let's see.
It's firmly in my dead zone.
Pirates? Yeah, Trap Runner. Target attacking unblocked creature becomes blocked. Yeah, the one that you mentioned that there's like a one or two creatures and I think maybe an instant in white that make a thing blocked without.
Oh, target unblocked creature becomes blocked, like the opposite. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
There are a couple uses of that technology, but not that I can remember the opposite, like forcibly unblock someone. This is a great submission.
Mhm.
we managed to see through it, but yeah, absolutely love it.
Yeah, a really neat fit. I I know there's a lot of reasons why we wouldn't get another set set on Mercadia,
Hmm.
but I wish.
Are Surprise and Merfolk like sick? I actually don't know their flavor very well.
I don't know, there's an air to everything that
Hmm.
is fun. Here, I'm gonna make a wild statement,
Yeah.
which is, it's very silly that the first introduction of non-zombie black goblins in Magic was
Okay.
in Lorwyn,
All right.
where the goblins are the most, like, red they've ever been. They're just, like,
Hmm.
goofy guys who want to have new experiences. Like,
Hmm.
that's the whole, like, goblin identity in Lorwyn. And in Mercadia, all the goblins are red because that's what goblins have to be, but the Kairen or the Kirin goblins are, like, really clever doing, like, fun machination sort of stuff. They're doing, like, market manipulation things.
Hmm.
Like, that's where the, like,
Black
mono black or
Goblin.
the black red
Hmm.
goblins should be.
Yeah. Yeah. How to re-enjoy Mercadia? That's what I'm trying to think of right now. How to see
I
that set in the best light possible.
I've got I could pull up an MSC file for Mercadia Remasked, uh
There you
where
go.
I've,
There you
like,
go.
put in the art and started doing, like, a Jumpstart remix of it, and I was like, this isn't quite hitting."
I was looking it up Surprising to see like because I love blue, I love Merfolk.
Mhm.
Are the Surprise and Merfolk sick? I'm looking at 5 Merfolk, all 5 of which are not the same species, despite all being in the same set and having all the same. There's like a lady who is blue skinned. There's like a
Uh-huh.
super scrawny changeling looking like stretchy guy. There's like a super like hulked up big blue guy with like horn fins, and then there's like an absolute fish man of a guy. Like these are
Uh-huh.
not related whatsoever. So there is no surprise and flavor that I've been able to detect at least.
What if you gave one of the, like, carnivorous whales, like, beefy arms?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, exactly.
it's not even a merfolk, it's a beast, so I don't know.
Oh yeah.
And then there's also, in addition to all of the merfolk in the water, perhaps an outrigger creature ship where there are a bunch of merfolk who, for some reason, have a boat.
Yeah.
Why do they need a boat that goes on top of the water? Uh,
And these are like some fishy like bottom half full fish mode, not like legged water people. Why are they in a boat? Yeah, great question.
uh, different.
It turns out I wasn't missing that much, except for some humor. All right. Our last submission from our first pass, though we got a couple bonus ones after this. Our last one is going to be from Mark Confidant. Always great to get a submission. And this one is called Sewer King. This is 3 and a black for a 2/4 creature rat noble at uncommon. 4-mana 2/4. When this creature enters, each opponent exiles a card from their hand until this creature leaves. Those cards are kidnapped. And then some reminder text. You may play them from exile and spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast them.
Hmm.
You may play them from exile. You being the caster of this card, seemingly?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I think the idea here is, if this is real, this is keywording what would be rules text.
Hmm.
In the same way that, like, the original version of this card probably didn't say when this creature enters. It would say when
Yeah.
Googly Goo enters the battlefield or comes,
Googledy.
like what
Yeah.
normally we say card name, but like
Yeah.
this
Googledy go.
description very, very well. Sewer King, 3 and a black for creature. So Rat Noble doesn't have to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, okay,
This could be a
so
zombie. This could be something else. Yeah.
this could be a zombie. The weird thing is, if you are having the opportunity to cast this from exile, you may play them from exile
Hmm.
and spend so because I'm like, well, the opponent gets to choose the card though, so they could just
Yeah.
give you a land. You could play that land.
Yeah. Yeah.
It could be that the formatting is trying to fool us into thinking this is custom when it's real. There's that,
Hmm.
like, extra layer of obfuscation, of
Hmm.
obscurity there. My gut is telling me this is custom, though.
Hmm. This is like too clean to be an old real card.
Mhm. And each opponent so, like, this could be a commander product
Yeah.
card?
So my best guess if it's a real card is that it's like one of the like mystery booster playtest cards or something, which would allow it to be
Mm.
like very clean and playable and obviously useful in a way that I wouldn't expect an old card to be, especially an old card that neither of us have heard of.
I think Mystery Booster is smart because I was thinking if this is a commander card, you would give it a keyword of some sort. Something, whether that's menace or who knows what, like there would
Hmm.
be some type of
Yeah.
keyword attached to
Yeah.
it, maybe different power and toughness or who knows what.
There's like ransom on a playtest card or something that's like kind of they discard a card, but the owner can recast it, but for 2 more mana.
Mhm.
I'm gonna say custom. Yeah,
Sure.
I'm gonna lock in custom.
Let's see if we've been fooled. Real, it's Intellect
Intellect
Devourer,
Devourer.
but without the flavor words
Oh,
and with a retroactively keyworded. Is this from the Baldur's Gate?
Battle for Baldur's Gate. So the
Yeah.
Commander Limited set. That makes sense. All right.
Oh.
Yeah, it's Commander Limited, which is why it's each player.
So we were like, "Oh, it would be commander card, but it would have some other words on it." And we were right.
Yeah,
It just those were flavor words. Wow.
yeah. And the Intellect Devourer card is 9 lines of rules text, like a firm, chunky 9 lines. And,
Mhm.
with the reminder text or whatever, there's only 4 on the Sewer King and another like 3.5 reminder text. Commander Limited. Yeah, okay. Because when I was looking at him, like this would probably not be one of the cards they put like uncommon, like it would like in a regular commander deck, like the yearly decks from 10 years ago, whatever. Huh. Good pick. Good job, Mark.
Let's see if we can get through some of the second submissions. Normally we say only submit one because we get a lot of submissions. This one we thought it would be fun to just get a little bit more, chances to maybe fool us. And it looks like the first one of those is from Pat. It's Indestructible Aura. It's for 3 and a white enchantment aura, enchant permanent, and enchanted permanent has indestructible.
I'm pretty sure Indestructible Aura is the name of a card and it has this art, but whether the rules text is real or not, I'm not I'm not totally sure.
And I'm confident that there's a 3 and a white aura that gives indestructible,
Oh.
but I believe the card's name is Indestructibility, and I
Oh.
can't tell you whether it is enchant permanent or enchant creature. I think it might be enchant creature. And so I think we might be
We both
double faked out here.
Indestructible Aura, and it's hard to convey in audio, but this is some goofball old art.
Mhm.
Thanks to Mark Poole for drawing this for us. It's like a literal bird head, but human sized on a human body. The human body has its arms crossed and doing like the metal horns signs. And then its armor is just so strange. And it's getting attacked from one side by ice, one side by fire. So, like, this art is from guarantee like 1994 or 1995.
Mhm.
And I don't think a card this clean. I don't think the Indestructible Aura has this clean a design. So I'm saying custom.
Right, right. Because indestructibility is like an M era card. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
from M12 or M14.
yeah.
And so the question is it enchant permanent or is it enchant creature?
Oh, so okay, so you're saying indestructibility.
Yes, yeah.
That could be this card.
Uh-huh.
Enchanted permanent has indestructible. And I'm getting thrown off because Indestructible Aura and this art are
A different
an
card.
old card, a
Yeah.
different old card that does something else.
Mhm.
But even if I'm correct in saying that, this might still be a real card as far as this challenge goes because
Right.
if the rules text matches, then it's a real card.
I'm gonna guess this flavor text Theodar strode the battle lines, snatching swords with his bare hands and casting them aside until all cowered before him. I'm gonna go so far as to guess that flavor text could be from a third card. You ready to
Oh, are you saying custom? You think it's just creatures for indestructibility?
I'm willing to be wrong, but I'm thinking that.
All right,
It's a nice
I'll
edge.
say
Yeah.
real. This is not the card Indestructible Aura, but it could be a different card.
This is not the card Indestructible Aura. That card is an instant and doesn't give indestructible. However, this is the real card
Wow.
Indestructibility. So I named the card correctly. Uh,
What does Indestructible Aura do? And is it from 1994?
and I am correct. The indestructibility was in Magic 2014 and first printed in an earlier M set, Magic 2010. I feel I feel pretty good about that analysis, even if
You gave me the info I needed to guess the other direction. I'll give you half my point.
I really next leveled myself. I was like, "Oh, what would be?" Just search Theodar in flavor text. Let's see. Oh, this is the flavor text from Indestructible
Indestructible
Aura.
Aura. So Theodar is the giant bird-headed, metal horns flinging, serpent-bodied
Wizard
dude.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A card that was from 1994, and is 1 mana instant. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to target creature this turn. It's like a targeted fog almost.
Wow.
uh, wow. That was a high level submission.
April Fools.
Yeah. All right. Our next one, we got a bonus one from Plaid Weasel VT. This is a card called Chen Lung. It has no mana cost, but it's a legendary creature dragon at rare. As long as Chen Lung is face up, you cannot be forced to discard any cards from your hand. And it's a 3/3. So a no mana cost, uncastable 3/3. As long as it's face up, you cannot be forced to discard any cards from your hand. This is so not a Magic card in terms of its like
Uh-huh.
the text on it that it feels like it has to be from like a Horde deck or something.
That's a good guess. I was thinking I was looking at our challenge, I was like, "Okay, submit either a real card with a name and a is this a card from a different card game? Is this a card from
Oh.
like Duel Masters? I think, you play creatures face down as your, like,
Oh.
lands, or Yu-Gi-Oh! Has, like,
Mm.
trap cards and things? I'm trying to think of a card game that I know that would have, like, face up, face down stuff like this, or is this just the front or back of a card that otherwise exists? I can't think of any, like, transform DFC that would have
Yeah. Transform wouldn't
right,
say as long as it's face up or like modal
right.
cards. So it's
Yeah,
probably not one of those. I like your guess of another card game.
because it could be a real card, just not a
Yeah.
real Magic card.
If it was like a Horde deck card or something, because we talked about that like last week.
Mhm,
I'm trying to think of why it would need if it's face up on one of those, because the Horde decks are like it's a whole stack of cards that they get played out, and they're it's like an AI, well not an AI, but the like an automatically playing deck that has like a bunch of
mhm.
satyrs or whatever trying to kill you, minotaurs. And I don't know why it would need face up on technology. So,
Is there an arch enemy thing where you can deal damage to something to turn it down? I just
mm. So you're saying real, but in a different game.
yeah.
I'm going to say custom. I'm going to lock in custom.
Okay, let's see. Well, it is technically a custom card. This is actually not even a magic card. This is Chen from the Wyvern or Wyvern TCG.
Oh, I played that kind of briefly, that Wyvern card game. I remember this.
Mhm,
We hit like a point of when I was like, I don't know, 14 or whatever, where everyone else had good magic cards and we were tired of like me and my couple friends were like tired of losing to those players. So we would
mhm.
just get into every other card game to try to find one that we could win at. And Wyvern was one of them.
Yeah, 1994. I feel my mild accomplishment at correctly calling, even if I didn't pick the the game out of a hat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Our next bonus submission is from Kuyashi Plays. It's Terrifying Visage, Terrifying Visage. For 2 and a black, it's a 3/1 creature incarnation. With
Hmm.
7 and a black, creatures you control gain fear until end of turn. This is not Gem Palm Invoker. Which one is this? Sorry, I should have
Oh,
let you talk
yeah.
first.
I was thinking Invoker as well, though that you remember it even more clearly. Yeah. Or was the Invoker? I can't visualize the other Invokers from the old cycle. Invokers are
Mhm.
like the creatures that have 8 mana abilities that are like commons or uncommons. They're like explosive draft cards. And there were like some in Rise of the Eldrazi. There were some in like Battle for Baldur's Gate of all things.
We originally got them, I'm pretty sure, in what's the third set in Odyssey block? Is it
Odyssey.
maybe in Judgment we got them? Because
Oh, okay.
they were like Mirari, like, themed cards.
Oh, okay. I guess this is a little bit of a knowledge check because Koyashi could know that we know that there were old invokers and then just designed an invoker that never existed with an old keyword with fear.
Mhm. And some
But
some invokers have 7 and a black for their cost, or
yeah,
7 and, like, 1 color, and some
yeah,
invokers have just 8
yeah,
generic
just eight.
mana.
Yeah, yeah. How
E
do you feel aesthetically? Do
Mhm.
you think it's nicer to have seven in a black or do you think eight is better?
I think there are benefits either way, but I lean towards the, like, 7 and a black.
Oh,
I
okay.
think
Okay.
this is do you think this is the first cycle of the invokers, the Rise of Eldrazi invoker, or something else entirely, or a custom card?
It's not the Rise one, so it'd have to be an older one.
'Cause
I think I'm gonna say real. I'm ready to be fooled.
the Black Rise one is a 2 and a black 3/1, right? So I'm wondering,
Yeah.
is this a combination of 2 different invokers
Oh,
that is faking us out? But I'm also going to
wait.
say,
So Gem Palm Invoker, what is that one? That's the
uh,
Goblin. What does that do?
does it
Can we remember any
Pyroclasm?
old
Or
invokers?
it's it's too long ago. But I'm so confident that one of the invokers does give fear. And
Hmm.
I believe the old one is a zombie with, like, weird
Oh, yeah, it
goofy
would have been.
hands
Yeah, you're
also.
right. Yeah, yeah. Oh, what is that one? Yeah, I can remember the art for it now. It's kind of like a wrinkly zombie. Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of comic booky looking.
So we're both gonna
Um,
say real, and let's find out. A foolish creature based on invokers
oh,
custom
custom.
card.
Hmm.
Wow. Wow. Have we been totally faked out here? So Bloodright Invoker is the vampire from
Yeah,
Rise.
yeah.
Smoke Spew Invoker is the zombie with weird hands that
Oh, okay.
gives it's a 2 and a black 3/1 zombie invoker that target creature gets -3/-3 till is there no invoker that gives fear? Have I invented this? Because Frostwind Invoker gives everything flying.
This is like the incarnate. Would have been an incarnation that in the graveyard gives your creatures fear, like filth or something.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah. Oh,
This
filth gets swamp walk. No, that's not it.
this is a this really got me. This I feel well and truly fooled.
This is Smokespoon Invoker, except exactly the ability has changed, right? It's the same cost, same power, same toughness, same ability cost, But instead of the ability giving -3/-3, it gives fear.
And during an era where fear was, like, a huge
Yeah,
part of
yeah,
Black's color identity,
yeah,
that was,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
a really big thing. Wow,
Wow.
really got us.
We did know that we were in danger because we did identify that Koyashi might know that we know that there are old invokers that had this 7 and a color cost.
Mhm.
But that they might have anticipated us knowing that much and then just gone one more level.
Yeah. Only,
Uh,
so Smoke Spew Invoker from Legions. Of course, that makes sense. That they
okay.
would be in
In
Legions, not
Legions,
in
okay.
Judgment. How foolish of me.
Spell effects, but on creatures. Yeah, that's how you get
Mhm.
invokers. Yeah, is giving all your creatures fear or giving target creature -3/-3? Giving all your creatures fear is kind of good, and especially in olden days, it might have been a little bit better because they're more board stalls.
Mhm.
But maybe -3/-3 is just so much better.
Fear's also kind of a either it does everything or it does nothing
Yeah,
sort
yeah,
of thing, depending on
yeah.
what you're facing on the other side of the board. Played a lot of green black in that sort of era, but mostly using cards that we had. You know what I mean? Like, here's a bunch of
Mm,
cards that somebody has given us, or that there's
yeah,
been handed down, or like a precon or whatever. We didn't
yeah.
have like you didn't buy cards because I mean we were children. It's life.
Oh, you had another call on this that was correct because the flavor text on Smokespew Invoker is the Mirari festers in its flesh.
Mhm.
And that's
Mhm.
what you were saying, that the invokers were all like a Mirari charged.
Yeah, the original cycle of invokers were, Starlight Invoker, which you gain 5 life, so the white one. The Mirari glows in her eyes. Glintwing Invoker,
Mm,
which, does a +3/+3 in flying. Pretty great in blue. The Mirari flares in his mind. The
mm.
black one that is -3/-3, the Mirari festers in its flesh. The red Flamewave Invoker deals 5 damage to target player. The Mirari burns in his heart. And, Stonewood Invoker, the Murray pulses in his vein.
What were we thinking with Gem Palm? Like we
Is
were.
there Gem Palm
Oh,
Incinerator?
yeah,
Gem
we were
Palm
thinking of
Spider?
the Gem Palm Incinerator, Polluter. Those are the two cards we were visualizing.
Also from Legions, also weird weird creatures that do spell effects, but those are when you cycle them.
Was that the art that you were imagining? Because that's what I was imagining. I was imagining the Gem Palms in my head.
No, I was
Okay.
thinking though, it was all like I was thinking that Flamewave Invoker was Gem
Yeah.
Palm Invoker because it's like
Uh,
shooting fire out of
out
its
of its
hands like
hands.
that.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Whew. Wow, we went on a trip with that one.
Taking us back. The next one is from Cryptra. It's Amity Crowd Surfer. It's 3 red and a red for a legendary creature otter. That's a rare for 3/3 for 5 mana. Each creature that's a lizard, a mouse, or a raccoon gets +2/+2 and has haste. And while Tim thinks about this, the flavor text is I used to go to the Otterball pool just before game time. If I timed it right, I'd just be sitting down at the horn. Sit back, let the energy of the crowd flow over me. Waves and waves of emotion, like electric current.
Whoa. Is this like a
Is
quote for something? This is like some cool flavor text. I think I know
is
this card, but this flavor text is blowing me away.
okay, what do you think this card is?
I think this is the barbarian lady.
Yeah,
Uh
who I wanna say is Lovisa Cold Eyes,
yeah, Lovisa. Yeah, I don't know her last name or her title.
but like an Ice Age. Yeah. Or not Ice Age, Cold Snap.
Like sitting in a throne, has an axe on her
Mhm.
lap.
Yeah.
Um,
So we're both saying real.
yeah.
It is Lovisa Cold Eyes.
Cold Eyes, very nice. Good pull. What's with this like it just absolutely extra mile flavor text? I'm still boggling on that. I don't know. Thanks for that submission, man.
Our final submission.
All right, this is another from Mark Confidant, who really ran circles around us on the first submission with Sewer King.
Mhm.
But this one is mid-sized spider, tuna green for a creature spider. It's a 2/3 with reach. That's it. Just a super
So
simple common.
there's plenty of cards that are 1 green and a green for a 2/3 with reach.
Hmm.
That exists in at least 2
Okay.
iterations,
Okay. Okay.
one of which is an elf, one of which is a spider.
Oh, wow. Mid-sized spider.
It's so believable.
I think this was also a red card. Like 2 in a red, 2/3 reach. Minotaur or something?
When would this because, like, creature sizes and costs have become so much more efficient, when did this become doable that it then didn't become underpowered?
Yeah. Great framing. Great framing. Even 5 years ago, something like that, this would have probably been outclassed as a common. I guess if there was a late core set.
What is after Theros? Theros would have this would have been an enchantment. Would we remember this card if it was just a random French vanilla in, like, Shadows over Innistrad?
Well, that's what I'm thinking. If it was in like Shadows over Innistrad, that would have been, my guess is, unplayable there, or like extremely marginal in draft, like a D minus,
Mm,
and therefore could have existed. Like they could have put it in the set and we just never played with it because you were just putting other better green cards in your deck.
yeah.
Hmm. I'm leaning custom, but it's custom because Mark wanted to show somehow this card never got printed.
I think you're probably right. I'm gonna say, what if this is a merfolk on Ixalan?
Okay.
I'm gonna guess real, but not a spider.
Okay. Okay.
Fake. A 2/3 reach for 2G doesn't exist. Wow.
Hmm.
Oh, wow. It's amazing to look at how long ago, like Ember Weaver, which is a 2 and a green for a 2/3 reach spider with as long as you control a red permanent, this creature gets +1/+7 as first strike back in Conflux. And here I'm
Hmm.
like, well, yeah, but they never printed this, did they? Because they always would put a 1 and a green or one green green.
I
For
do
the
like this Scryfall search here because it also points me to my buddy Nimble Bird Sticker.
uh-huh.
This is past the end of the set, so this would have been like a newbie card or something. This is 333 out of 280. This is in like intro decks or something. So maybe I don't remember a card. There are a bunch of 2 and a green 2/3 reaches, but they all have like upside. They're all newer cards that are like when it blocks a flying creature, it gets 2 extra power.
Mhm. I'm surprised though that I forgotten Ember Weaver because Ember Weaver is that's from Conflux. It's a common from Conflux. It seems silly to say, but overpowered for
You know what? I can believe that would be good in Conflux. Yeah, you mentioned that before, right? When you have a red permanent, it gets an extra power in first strike. Because the 3/3
Mhm.
first striker is actually pretty good. It's certainly good at blocking flyers.
The spider I was remembering from Shadows over Innistrad, Eldritch Moon had Swift Spinner, which was a 2/3 flash reach for 3 and a green.
The one I was remembering was from Amonkhet, Minotaur Sure Shot, which is a 2 and a red 2/3 reach, but also you could pay 2 mana to give it +1/+1 until end of turn. So it was, even when red was getting like conditional reach, like do we want to put red reach or not? Even then they were like, no, we got to give it an extra ability.
Do you know that there's never been a merfolk with reach?
Oh, awesome.
Interesting.
What was the elf that you were thinking of? We've got to
I'm
find
I'm
that.
looking it up, and I'm gonna see if I can find it's gonna be so silly if the card doesn't even have reach. Guess it just doesn't exist. I'm just imagining elves.
If you know the elf of Julia's Dreams, please post it for us in the Discord.
What elf am I forgetting? Is it a human ranger suddenly somehow? Yeah, I'm looking at all the elves in 7th edition. I'm like, I'm stumped.
All right, all right.
Well,
So, man, that was a pretty fun challenge, I would say.
it's a
uh,
doozy. The end of one design challenge review marks the beginning of a new design challenge. Perfectly ill-timed alarm to go off. And for May's design challenge, we have May BC design an elder. So we've seen a lot of different elders in Magic. A lot of them have been elder dragons, elder dinosaurs, elder demons, elder giants. We've seen some of. Give us your best elder card of whatever other creature type fits your fancy. I want to see what the as old planeswalkers are to modern planeswalkers. Give us what that creature is going to be.
Probably a big creature, maybe a legend, maybe not.
Mm-hmm. And then we've got some bonus points. And here's a tricky one that I'm excited to see people rise to. ABCs use every letter of the alphabet somewhere on the card. So give us a Abacadarian Magic the Gathering card. And then the other bonus point is DEF. Give it a defensive keyword. Reach, Defender, Indestructible, Vigilance, or Ward.
Love it. This ABC's challenge. This is a Juliet banger right there. Just making people figure out their exact card. Hey, if you want those bonus points from Juliet, you got to put in the work. Oh, let me get the calendar to see when the...
Oh, this will be due next year. We're starting a new thing where each month we give you a new design challenge, but we don't review it for a whole year. We have 12 threads up.
We really want to contemplate them, yeah. All right, and that'll be due May 30th, so you got plenty of time to get us your alphabetical card. That's about it for the podcast for the week. Hop on the Discord. That's where you submit stuff, where you talk through stuff, where you conspire against us to fool us with the April Fool's designs. Also, check out beaconofcreation.com for show notes. We got a lot more the show notes are a lot more robust these days. So if you're listening to the card and we're referencing cards you've never heard of, you can find them in the show notes. I don't think we have too many big events, but we got all the usual like sets being developed, the new stuff from Red Bay and Mono White Border, Outpost Zero, a couple of the things there. The microset stuff, I think, is still kind of going on. People are doing a little bit of that.
Yeah, we've got potentially even a new microset as we're recording this is coming to the hub. It's been really exciting to see, and as we kind of fit together, once we pass that 6 microsets together, I think threshold, they start to be potentially draftable, even though they aren't like designed for a draft, they're designed for sealed. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, so check all that stuff out on the Discord. Anything that you've been up to? Anything you want to promote to people? Any Moonshot stuff?
Yeah, so I'm going to plug a really exciting thing coming up, and you'll probably hear me say it more than once just to build up some steam. So this Memorial Day weekend, so that's starting Friday, May 23rd, going through Sunday, May 25th, over at the Moonshot Network, we are doing our annual charity stream. This one's going to be for Advocates for Trans Equality, which is the nonprofit that's merged together with the Trans Legal Defense Fund, and some folks doing some pretty important work right now. And so we are putting on the Moonaissance Fair.
Okay.
I am really excited. I'm doing a lot of research and writing for some of the blocks that I am involved in. We are going to be getting some, we've got our Balatro races. We've got a parliament and some pretty interesting VR stuff that we're going to be doing with that. We have a table read of Shrek 2. So
okay.
You can stop on by for that for a good time. Got Bloro Builder. We just bought some art supplies this morning for an artist in residence block. I'm really excited. It's fun to get some kind of Ren Fair, medieval fantasy sort of things. And if you like word games, we're going to have some of those alongside some of the video game sort of things. So I'm really looking forward to that. And that's going to be at twitch.tv/Moonshot Network starting Friday, May 23rd through Sunday, May 25th.
Awesome. Yeah. I have to check that out again. If you need to find either of us, Discord's the easiest way to do that, but we're also on Blue Sky if you want to find us there. But most of all, thanks for listening.
And always remember, Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, Taoist mystic.
Uh,
Fool me twice, indestructibility somehow, even though I named the card it was.